Hey y'all, so I'm Haley Hodges. I graduated from SACS in 2018, so just a couple years ago. I just finished my sophomore year at Auburn University, and I just want to share a little bit about why I chose Auburn in the first place and what it's meant to me these past 2 years. So I kind of chose Auburn as a surprise. Never in a million years did I think that I would be at Auburn. I grew up a huge fan of another school, and everyone kind of knew that I would go there. I wanted to go there, but I toured Auburn kind of as a second choice if I didn't get in. Fell in love with Auburn. It's just funny how it works that way, but really fell in love with Auburn, and I felt so strongly that that's where the Lord wanted me, and he just opened so many doors to make that very evident. So I jumped in. It's like, I'm gonna go to Auburn. So I did. When it came down to it, I was scared about going far away from home. On paper it sounded fun and exciting, but when it actually came down to it logistically, I was scared, which I think is so normal and so valid. And so something that I did that I could not recommend more is I was a part of something called the Oaks Retreat at Auburn. And so a few weeks before your freshman year, you go to this small town in Alabama, and you are plugged into Christian community just right off the bat. And so I started meeting people, and the heartbeat of the Oaks is just to introduce you to local churches and student ministries before you even step foot in Auburn. And so that's what it did for me. I was able to hear from local pastors and student ministry organizations and hear their heartbeat behind what they do and why they do what they do. I also was able to meet so many incredible people that are still some of my closest friends today. All of this happened before I was even on campus for my freshman year. So I could not recommend that more if you decide to come to Auburn. It was also super cool because this past summer, before my sophomore year, I was able to be a counselor at the Oaks. And so that's what they really encourage you to do, is to turn around and be a counselor and encourage other people to come to Auburn and be a part of the Christian community there. So yeah, that was super, super awesome. I would recommend doing that if you come to Auburn. So besides the Oaks Retreat, I'm involved in a sorority at Auburn, which I love so much. Auburn's cool because you don't have to be in a sorority to have friends or to, be involved. There's so many other organizations, but a sorority is just one of many, if that makes sense. So I'm a part of a sorority. I also am a Young Life leader at a local high school in Auburn, so that has been such a highlight, and I could talk about that forever. So I'm really involved in those two things. Yeah, so I think also apart from that, my favorite thing is Auburn really is a family, and I know that probably is the most cliche thing you could ever hear, but it couldn't be more true. I was in a biology class my freshman year with 300 people, and my professor knew every one of our names. Not because he had to, but because he wanted to, and that is so, even though that's a small story, it is so, it's such a great example of Auburn in its entirety, that your name matters, and you're not just a number, but you're a person, and you matter, and you do. And so that's one of my favorite things, and that theme is so evident everywhere you go in Auburn, whether that's in the classroom or meeting with your advisor, or you're in the stands at a football game. you're there, you're a part of a family, you're part of something bigger than yourself. I'm involved in a super awesome church called Auburn Community Church. Love it. It's kind of new, but it is super great, and I can't recommend that more. So I know this is kind of all over the place, but I could talk about Auburn forever. I love it with all of my heart, and I know Miss Miller and Miss Adams have my phone number, and so I'd be so willing to talk to you more about it if you want. So thank y'all so much, and War Eagle.